if I have a sale of some commercial buildings coming up and I'm trying to locate a way to do a 1031 exchange, can it be done into this fund as a 1031 exchange?
Probably a question for a CPA or an attorney.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
no problem. Thank you.
I would generally say probably not, but you know, because it's like kind exchange.
Yeah, I also I was starting to answer you in the Q&A section, Mauricio, but I stopped because I was there going, I'll end up saying we need to verify that. So getting back with a CPA would be the right answer. One point of discussion that has come up before is what is the lifespan, the expected span of the wells, and also what is the span of our deal? And so I know I'm going kind of something that doesn't necessarily have an explicit question on there, but having heard that before enough times. So the wells themselves will have ample returns going for, including its long tail, easily 30 years. But then that's with the zones. They get recompleted. When you're talking about multiple zones, you can tap others and go along with that. We are not interested in touching those, in let's say milking that part of the cow. All right, not a great metaphor there. But the reason is that that's meat on the bone that is left for when we sell these things, when we sell these assets. And so what we're trying to do is basically enjoy the most prolific production from the depletion curve of the richest zone that we can tap, that we actually hit. And basically, within that fourth, fifth year is an ideal time before additional equipment, the acquisition of it, installation, and then the ongoing maintenance of it is required to maximize that long tail. So what we're trying to do is basically exit before then. It leaves a lot of meat on the bone for the next buyer, because that's a different type of asset owner, very similar to real estate, between developing, let's say, an apartment complex, and then who buys one that's already established. So that's the difference. You know, we're looking at 5 years for that reason, and then these wells do have a very long lifespan to go. Okay. Thank you. I wanted to just get that out there.
Yeah. There's a question I'll address from the Q&A here. Michelle asks a little bit more detail on the stress testing. You know, what happens if we combine price volatility and production uncertainty, if you will? I think what I'd like to do, and no, the straight answer there is no, I did not do a stress test where the whole model goes to dry wells and price volatility. But I would like to just educate everybody. I think I call it standard knowledge or tribal knowledge is, hey, as prices plummet, if prices were to fall significantly, then, you know, everybody loses jobs, people leave town, and tumbleweeds just fly through, you know, the area. I think we have to be careful, you know, being an independent driller and understanding what our cost structure is and the returns of this fund, right? If, let's say, prices go to $30 a barrel, and we know that people are still going to potentially double their investment returns, we're still going to drill, baby, drill, right? We are still going to produce from the wells that we have, not necessarily get rid of everybody and cap the wells. And so I think we should just be careful there, right? We don't necessarily operate like big oil companies where maybe their break-even barrel of oil price is like $50. So I just wanted to throw that out, Michelle. You mentioned, hey, a lot of times when prices go down, production goes away. Likely not in the scenario of this fund. And Jason, I don't know if you have anything to add there.
Yeah, thanks. I did want to mention one thing. In Michelle's question, she was saying there's often a correlation between the two where they rise and fall together. Certainly over the past 4 years, I would say that's not been the case. And notwithstanding the assault on natural gas that occurred with the last administration, where that's really an anomaly. But prior to that, what we were seeing was that there was adjustments that were kind of going along with each other. And that's not to, completely say I disagree with what you've typed. It's just that what we have found to be most lucrative for us as far as investments like this is having the right blend where maybe 3/4 of the revenue is generated by oil and a good fourth or 30% maybe is by gas, because sometimes like when we have the oil prices slide back down due to some geopolitical reasons, is that the gas has actually balanced things out and effectively provided a hedge of sorts with it. So we've been able to benefit greatly from that. And to be honest, that's one thing I very much like about this this set of wells, the Lisbon field, if you will, because of what a combination it is, rather than say truly having wasted flared gas to where the gas is so small, there's no purchasing infrastructure out there, there's no pipeline to market because it's so small, and then you're really at risk just for oil. We've also experienced that just where you're just at risk for gas. Having the blend has worked out best for us, so we're happy to repeat that.
One person had asked if they make an initial investment, if they can increase their investment later on. The answer to that question is what, guys? Yes, we like that. All right, so we're more than happy to allow you to increase your investment. Can we hold our interest in an LLC as the sole member accredited investor?
Yeah, absolutely. Chip asks, "Hey, can you share the pro formas behind the ROIs?" We're gonna place details behind the underwriting. As Emily mentioned, some of that's like the gas and the oil pricing. We're gonna place that in an FAQ document that everybody will have access to. So check that out. That'll be on the investor portal when you go to sign up. So yeah, that's where that information will be, Chip.
I see a question from Sharna there. Can the depreciation be rolled to 2026 versus taken in 2025? That really comes down to your CPA and what they can work. Generally speaking, though, is we're going to have the K1s for the LLC. So what we hand to you is going to be maximizing what we can in 2025. If you've got let's just say the lack of income to offset that, to offset those deductions and accelerated bonus deductions, depreciations, is that you can roll those forward. But it's going to have to deal with really what your specific scenario is. I hope that answers that.
So y'all talked about investing through an LLC versus personally. I was curious if you guys could share the benefit of that or the purpose of that, because it seemed to be encouraged when it was answered.
Excellent question for Keith, I think.
Okay.
Probably for Keith.
Yeah.
And Johnny, just to make sure I heard you right, you were basically wondering what are the pros cons of investing as an LLC versus person?
Yes.
Well, is the LLC just yours, like kind of your own personal one, your personal holding one?
Yes.
Okay. I can simply state this, that usually you're going to have, that extra veil of liability that is set aside. But if it's a disregarded entity, from a tax benefit perspective, I'm not aware of anything because it's just going to flow directly to you. Those, especially, those single member LLCs, or if you're doing it together. But we're already providing liability through our LLC structure, as opposed to having our entity structure for investing, for doing these deals. We don't do them as general partnerships or limited partnerships. We do them as LLC, limited liability corporations, and that gives everybody a lot more just built-in protection to you being liable to just what you've invested rather than anything beyond that.
And Jason, you kind of answered it in the chat.
Okay.
I asked about the age also of the offsets, and is there any new technology? You said the depths are about the same, but I don't know if those are all recent, if those are from 20 years ago.
No, they're from much earlier. So maybe this might be a helpful answer. Those are from much earlier. I'd have to pull up some stuff to see when they were drilled and what the age was. But this has been a field long ignored, and it happens. A lot of people wonder, how in the world does this happen? How do you guys find these spots? Why is there even room left? And it's very similar to having an empty lot in an established neighborhood. It'll just surprise you that you'll find that still from time to time. So how this works in this particular field is that the big boys locked up, especially when they were 640 acre units, they locked up a lot of land, and as prices climbed up with all the excitement, because that's usually what happens inside of these oil and gas deals, is that it reaches a point to where it's the expense of it that dealing with leasing, mineral rights, surface use agreements, basically the infrastructure prices start rising quite a bit because of all the excitement, and everybody thinks they can maximize their returns that way. So at some point, the big boys who are doing all this development and who spent all the money monopoly style to just grab the whole corner or the whole side of the board so that they can drill what they need to do, is that they finally go, you know what, this isn't worth it anymore. And then they move on to the newest field that doesn't yet have all that attention. So what occurred here in Claiborne is that those leaseholds hung on for a long time. The big boys they were not in any rush to let go of them. Maybe they were thinking to come back. Who really knows? So decades have passed, and basically it got forgotten, an old battlefield, if you will, that just got left behind and grown over with the trees and everything else. So it was just kind of forgotten. And there's areas like that all over if you have the attention and effort and knowledge of the area. And that's exactly what's great about Rosestone. That is their backyard. So they've been at it for a good, I think it's been the past 12 years or so that they've been trying to focus in that area and identify their best locations. So hope that helped. And for Peter, if I can.
Yeah.
When the underwriting slide that Adam covered was talking about 3 dry wells. So the thing is, we have indicators when you know that this thing is dry, that you missed it, that you landed right on the fault. And so the point is that you don't spend all that money. You adjust and move accordingly. And we're very flexible that way. And by we, meaning we and Rosestone. What you might run into with other types of oil drilling deals is that everybody gets paid, as in the driller operator is going to get paid based on a percentage of what is spent. And that's kind of how they get their return. So if things work well, they get the interest that continues afterwards. If things don't, they're actually incentivized to spend as much of the money as can be, and then at the very end go, well, it didn't work out. But the thing is, they got their share of it. And we don't work that way whatsoever. We do this deliberately, intentionally, to where we're trying to maximize the returns on this stuff. Rosestone is not incentivized to just spend. They are in fact incentivized to be lean, as are we. And what we're both aligned for is basically maximizing returns through production. So we want to make that work. So that gives us the ability to either be flexible on changing plans, changing locations, making smarter decisions on the fly as required. So hope that helps.
I want to just add a little bit on what Jason said about the field dynamics and the timing. I know, Jason, did you mention skin in the game and how much Bob from Rosestone has already received from us to get this project started? Because I think that
I have not.
Okay.
But yeah, you're referring to the G&G fees and getting
Yeah.
everything going
Yeah.
to lock up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, CapEx has already put out, along with A&E Investments, 1.2 mil before we've taken one single dollar from the raise. We've put that out there because there is a rush, and I mentioned earlier about ahead of the game, ahead of the airplane, so that we're not going to end up slowing things down by staying just ahead of the drilling that'll begin at the start of August. So, we're committed to this, and Bob has his stake, or the Rowstone team has their stake in on all of it, and it's rocking and rolling. So, skin in the game keeps us all aligned and honest, instead of somebody getting to avoid putting their own money into these things.
We're very excited. As Jason mentioned, we've already given Rowstone a significant amount of capital here in the past 60 days to get started. That shows our commitment and excitement, and I really couldn't be more excited about what's coming here in Fund 7.
Yes, echoing that, we are ready to kick this off. We are excited for the drilling to start in August, and we're here for all of you if you have other questions, and would love to have you join us in this opportunity.
I like this Fund 7 because like previous investments Jason and I have done, and all of us, we're taking what's typically deemed as high risk investments and de-risking them, doing everything that we can. And Fund 7 is the most de-risked oil drilling program that we've done, and that basically, in my opinion, you can get your hands on. We're dealing with the same A team. We're in the same field. We drilled right next door, so we already have all those logs, all that information. I like taking high returns and reducing the risk, managing that risk any way I can, and that served me well. And I like this fund. That's why I'm kind of digging through the couch cushions, trying to find some more money to dump in this deal.